Hey gang, get around. Skippy White is back in town. Some like it hot, some like it cold.
The Skippy White's record stores have delivered rhythm and blues, gospel, blues, and soul for over 60 years, all throughout Boston. And I'm curious, Skippy, what first attracted you to this music?
Well, of course, I started on WILD first before I opened the record store. And it was the fact that there was no black music being played on the radio at that time. So I found out that the record store that I was working for at the time, which wasn't mine, you really had to play every record for the customers because they didn't know the music. They didn't know what was coming out, what was new. And so my idea was that if I could talk a radio station into playing rhythm and blues, then at least the people would hear it, they would hear the new music, and they would know what to come in and ask for.
Amazing. And as you were saying, your career with WILD-AM, it actually started after you left Boston University, which you did in 1957. So doing that 2-hour weekend show that you did, what did you find yourself learning about music from radio?
Well, I will have to say, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I already knew a lot about rhythm and blues at that time because I had been a record collector for years. And when I came to Smilin' Jack's College Music Shop, which is the store that I work for, he hired me because he knew that I really knew a lot about the music. And then, as I said, I wanted to get the music played on radio. And I went to the owner of WILD, which was playing Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin music at the time. And I talked my way into a 2-hour Saturday afternoon program, which expanded to 4 more hours on Sunday. And I was playing black music. I was playing rhythm and blues. And it escalated to a point where he had me picking out the rhythm and blues music of the day and giving it to the other DJs at the station, even though they didn't particularly care for what I was doing and the music that I was giving them to play. They were used to Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and so forth. But I gave it to them, and they played it because they had to. And one by one, they started to leave. And so the owner of the station not only gave me more credit and had me picking out the music for the whole station, sort of effectively made me the music director. And then he started hiring other disc jockeys, both in the Boston area and outside this area. And that's when we got Wildman Steve and Jimmy Earlybird, and they came on board.
That's incredible. You definitely put something in motion when they brought you on board WILD.
Yeah.
And 63 years is a lifetime in the music industry.
It's a long time.
Especially the record industry. Can you take us through some of the highlights that you've had during that time?
Well, you got to remember that there's been a lot of changes over the years. On all those years, I mean, we went from rhythm and blues and a lot of blues as part of that. And then later on, it morphed into soul music. And then from there, you had disco. And then from there, you had rap. In other words, the music kept changing.
And evolving, yeah.
And, but we were all, WILD was always on top of the music. And I think that's why the people were listening to WILD. I mean, I remember in those days where you could drive down Blue Hill Avenue and every car that you would pass would have their radio on and they were all tuned to WILD.
And Isaac, I'd love to bring you into the conversation. What do you believe is the legacy of Skippy, and how do you feel that we can best honor his work and the dedication to records in this digital age of music?
Wow, that's a heavy question to carry on his legacy. But his legacy is rhythm and blues music, the real stuff,
Right.
which is, the not only the voice, not only the vocals, but the rhythm behind it, the bass, the guitar, the piano, how all of the music comes together to paint a beautiful picture, which is rhythm and blues music and black music, as he calls it. So his first words on the radio in 1960, as he told me, and I'll never let him forget it, his first words on the radio were, in 1960, when he got the microphone in front of him in the radio station, "Black music is back on Boston radio." So he reintroduced black music to Boston in a way that no one has. He really blazed a trail. So what I would say in terms of carrying on his legacy is to dig into the old stuff. It's fine to listen to the new age music, but I would dig in to the roots of where all this music started, which is the old blues, the rhythm and blues. And a great place to start would be The Time Tunnel, which is a radio show that he airs every weekend on Saturdays on the Urban Heat, which is a radio station out of Hyde Park. And also on Sundays, he does a gospel show called The Gospel Train. But both of those radio shows are, if you really want to dig into where all of the music that we listen to today, or most of it, or a lot of it, where it's rooted in, is the music that he plays every week on his show. So one way to pay tribute to him would be to listen to that show, and when you listen to a song you haven't heard before, or you get introduced to an artist you haven't heard before, dig in, learn the music, learn these artists, learn their stories. That's a good way to pay tribute to Skippy White and what he's done for the city.
Thank you for that. And Skippy, what currently has your attention now? What else are you currently working on?
Well, of course, I've closed the stores, so I don't have attention to new music coming out anymore. I play on the radio, as Isaac just mentioned, mostly the older rhythm and blues, the roots of rhythm and blues, we'll call it. And that has my attention for the most part, because I want people to know how the music evolved, how it got a start and how it evolved. And that's really what I do on my radio programs.
Excellent. And going back to this idea of tribute, there will be the Skippy White tribute concert, which is happening Saturday, August 5th at Florian Hall. Why was it important for you to hold this event, and what should audiences expect?
Well, after 63 years of service to this community, I think it's about time that the city pay him a big thank you, pay him a big, this is a way for the city to repay him or thank him for his many years of service to this community. So we've titled it An Evening with Skippy White, Musical Tribute to a Living Legend. I mean, this is jam-packed with entertainment. We have local entertainers. We have entertainers who are known the world over. Tony Lynn Washington, who's Boston's Queen of the Blues. Yeah. She has sung, has been an artist in and around Boston and around the world. She's toured with the Bob Hope USO tours. She's been all over the world. And she'll be co-headlining the show along with Milton Wright, who's a retired judge in Boston, but he also has a sort of a secret music career that he's going to introduce to the community of Boston for the first time that I know of. But we have other local acts, like a lot of people know JC, Boston's Godfather of Soul, who's a James Brown tribute artist. We even have an artist coming all the way from Cape Verde. Wow. His name is Mendez Silver. I ran across him just while at a resort vacationing in Cape Verde. We connected. This event came up. He saw it as his perfect opportunity to introduce himself to America. So he'll be giving his debut performance at this show. He sings James Brown, all of those soul, rhythm and blues records. So he'll be there, and it'll be his debut performance for America. So there's a lot of exciting, special surprises that we invite the whole city to come to.
Oh, that's fabulous. I'm like chomping at the bit now. And how can viewers learn more and attend?
Well, they can call a phone number. We're doing it the old-fashioned way. So let's rewind the time and let's go back to the 1960s. If you want a ticket, you call 857-212 857-212-2737. That is 857-212-2737. Feel free to give me a call. We will come and hand deliver these tickets to you guys and get to know you like the old days. So that was done on purpose so that we can engage with the community that's coming out.